You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's R&B Divas After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's R&B Divas After Show.
Hey. What?
Hey, what's up, everybody? You're tuned into AFTERBUZZ TV for a recap for R&B Divas Season 3, Episode 3, entitled Diamond in the Rough. I'm your host, Bamm Ericsen.
And I have Alfred Nolan Thomas II.
And Larice Peoples is on his way, so he'll be joining us momentarily. This episode was titled Diamond in the Rough.
Ooh, what a rough diamond it was.
What's your overall thoughts of last night's episode?
It's interesting to see the dynamics of these particular women, but I don't know. It's like it's the same stuff from the old show, but not the same quality of cast. I think these ladies are still figuring each other out, and I don't think that. I don't know how I feel yet. I think it's in that very shaky area where I gotta see where this goes in order to know if I'm like rolling with it or not.
For me, I would like for the storylines to dive a little bit deeper. I know last year we said it kind of got out of hand. It was a little bit too much. It was too ratchet. We got tired of always seeing the arguing between Selena and Nikki Gilbert, and so we didn't want that this year. So we didn't want it. They made some changes. Now, should it have stayed, or, it's kind of that question.
Well, I mean, I still think they're doing the same stuff, but it's just not as intense because before the seasons had like substantial reasons, although it was like ratchetness and it was like a whole bunch of volatile situations. I mean, but there were substantial reasons why people were arguing. These kind of tit for tats in this are like watered down versions of the stuff before, but it'd be one thing if they really made sense and why they were getting away. It's just like they just arguing to argue just because they don't know how to get along more than anything else. That's weird.
Let's dive into this show. So let's discuss Keke. So Keke, last week it left off with Keke possibly being pregnant, and I think we all mutually, the three of us, agreed that after being pregnant 5 times or 6 times, how many ever times Keke's been pregnant, you should know if you're pregnant or not.
Yeah, and it's funny that she didn't, and I'm relieved that it wasn't, because I just was like, I don't think Michael should have to take another baby situation, although they are blessings and God gives them to those who deserve. But at the same time, I think that they had enough. I mean, she's enough of a boatload to deal with, and you could tell that. And you don't even see any stuff from the kids because there's so much to deal with her in the household.
And now they're focusing on their family. So you have not only Keke and Michael, now you have the mom Lorna, and then you have Keke's brother Keever. Then you have the other brother Josh, and then you have Keever's fiance Teddy. So I mean, they have a full house. That's almost like a reality show of itself.
Modern day family.
Right, exactly. And so Keever, he pretends, or he kind of fools Keke into making her think she's pregnant for a couple minutes, and then obviously she's not pregnant, and then we go into them all in the house together in the kitchen, and that's when hell just breaks loose for no reason, and my man Larice Peoples is in the building. So come in, have a seat, my brother.
Obama was in town, if you don't know, you know what I'm saying, or is in town, so our traffic is crazy, and if you don't know California traffic, it's always crazy. So now it's just You can't get around. You made it through.
I made it through, man.
You know
I
what
made
I'm
it
saying?
through.
Secret Service, did they slow you down?
It wasn't even Secret Service. It was an accident, man. You know how people in California can't drive, man?
Hey, when the president around, everybody go crazy.
Hey.
So we're discussing. Tell all your fans what's up.
We like, welcome everybody. welcome to the night show.
So we're discussing Keke, her family, and how everything just erupted between Keke's mom Lorna, then Lorna versus Kiever, and just all hell broke loose. So I'm still trying to figure out how did it get to that point.
I saw something. All right, so you know how hard it is to deal with Keke, right? Mm-hmm. Her mother is a spitting version of herself. But I think every time they get together, it's like that finally the alpha woman gets involved, and then you see how people, I think, react to her is how she reacts to her mother, and then her brother's on the side as the best friend to agree. But I see a dynamic of you just like your mama. That's why you can't deal with her.
Totally agree. And then with Kiever now going off about how she acts a certain way, and
But I didn't see nothing that was outrageous.
I didn't see anything outrageous about it either, because I mean, look at the language that they use in front of their mom. Now,
Whoa.
you know,
Yeah, it's
that's
kind of a lot of disrespect.
It's kind of a lot, but for me, I felt that Keke's mom, Lorna cusses at the whole house.
Yeah.
Keke cusses in front of her kids. Kiever cusses at everyone. So for me, it seems like the dialogue is normal, that they just use this language. So why would Kiever all of a sudden have a problem that his mom, that she's too turned up, when that seems like that's the norm language that they have in the household?
I don't really think it's about the language. I just think it's about overall the attitude amongst everybody. And a lot of time when you be around people, like somebody can be extra extreme all the time to be like annoying. And as a child looking at a parent, he's like, well, mom, you know, you do it all the time. So he probably feels like his mom always try to be like the alpha dominant woman in the family, even though she is mother. But again, you have to kind of respect your children for who they are, and they're all adults. And my thing with he was just like, mom, I'm just like, I mean, and like he says, like, it's not just this moment right now, and that's what he kept emphasizing on. It wasn't just particularly this moment. It was basically like all the other times that build up to where, and I've been a victim of before when I was younger. Like, I'd be like, man, like, ooh, it really got on my nerve, but then I really don't say too much on it. But then like a person continue to get on your nerve, then all of a sudden you just kind of blow up. And it's like, all right, I'm over. I got it out of my chest. And that's what Michael was trying to say. Like, you know what? It's like, it's one of those situations where a lot has built up and they finally saying something. And it's probably been like this before, but now it's just like, it's just on TV.
I'm sorry, Kiever. It was a little extra. I don't know if that was his moment because he was featured more and this was his opportunity to show out for the camera. I felt he was a bit dramatic for no reason because they all seemed to speak to each other in that tone. So for me, it felt a little.
You see his fiance? He was like,
yeah, poor thing. He was just looking
he
like,
just had
okay.
that look on the face like,
he was like looking like, okay, should I get camera time? Should I say something? Should I fall back? Like, yeah, he didn't really say much. And then the other brother, Josh, we never seen him before.
Yeah.
But I think he said 2 words too.
he don't look like none of this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was just like, Josh, that's your brother? Come on.
yeah, totally. And then
Papa was a rolling stone.
Then Keke meets with her mom, and they have another discussion where Keke tries to tell her that she needs to get help, which is for me calling the pot kettle black because I feel like they all need help. But in the end, the three of them all met.
Whatever gets them to go to the therapist, that was the one thing I didn't have a problem with. I was like, you know what? All of y'all need therapy. Whether it's you think it's the mom, Keke on your own, you need to get in there and see what's going on. But I think as a family, that would help them. I mean, old school way, you don't usually need a therapist. So you all can sit down and talk. But nowadays, I think a lot of people have a hard time communicating and relating to one another. So that it does take a professional to have to dive in there and like separate and mediate messages are being delivered to one another and what feelings and reactions are being controlled or moderated in order to get some kind of result. Because I think they're a loving family. You can tell they really care about each other. And even though I think Keke was acting all kinds of ways about her mama being there, I'm sure there's a base level of genuine we all really like to shoot the shit with each other and go crazy, whether or not we get emotionally caught up in it. I just think it needs to be focused for them to have positive reactions out of it rather than having those ups and down moments.
But you gotta look at it. You got 3 people who are identical.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and when you have 3 identical people, that's like you having 3 bulls in the ring. Who you think is gonna win? May the best man win, because they're gonna keep going at each other until somebody finally gives up. Like Keke always do, she walks away. Her brother, he really had his moment where he was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna speak out." But then ultimately, overall, it's gonna continue to be that situation. And no matter how much counseling that you have, first of all, you have to kind of acknowledge that you have a problem. Until you acknowledge that you have a problem, you're not gonna be able to resolve anything. No matter how many therapy sessions that you have, no matter how many family powers that you have, if you don't acknowledge that, hey, you know what? I really have a problem. I need to address that problem and be okay with the problem that I have. The thing is, nobody's okay with the problem that they have. Keke turns up every single episode about the simplest thing, and her family probably does the same thing too. So it's like one of those things. I wouldn't say it's genetics. It's just something that evolved within themselves.
Well, at least Keke. At least there's growth with Keke. She acknowledges that they all need to get therapy, and so for me, I have nothing else to say because congrats.
Acknowledging and actually like being proactive on it is 2 totally different things. Because I can be like, yeah, the sky is blue, but how did I get tonight? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I could go. I was just trying to be nice.
I'm just saying, like, everybody acknowledges that, yeah, something's wrong with me. But if I had a drug addiction, if I don't not acknowledge I got a drug addiction, but I never stop using drugs and never go to rehab, it's just pointless. Is it just taking those proactive moments? If they're gonna do it as a family, they need to do it as a family.
Speaking of pointless, what do you guys think about the singing interludes in between the transitions between the next scene? What do you guys think about all the different, you see so and so and
Well, that goes again into the situation of the cast before had the belters to make that really interesting between each woman. Now, so much, I don't even really notice it.
But now, I just think they need to kind of change it up. If you're going to do the transition in between, do something your own original. Do something that kind of makes you stand out more so than just like, oh, let me just show you my range. Let me show you my belt. Let me just show you a little melody. No, like, really, like, sing something.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think that's the producers teling them what to do, and that's just...
Well, the producers, they need to sing something.
Yes. I think it's pointless, but that would be a good idea for them to maybe hum a little bit of one of their songs.
I mean, hum, sing, whatever it may be. Like, I think they should make it to where they sing like one of their old songs in between. Where it's, oh, let's take a clip of her like one of their older songs. Make it seem like it's more original of them versus like.
Yeah.
I just think that, the writers, producer, they just need to make it more original it's more about them. They doing the same thing from the first season. This is season 3. I need to turn up.
Right.
Season 3.
Well, okay, let's go into, there was Selena and Angie Stone were working out, having a basketball workout.
Like they get
Angie,
together and play basketball.
When we talk about news and gossip, we'll talk about Angie and her exercising habits.
Yeah.
But so they were playing basketball, and Angie wants to be in charge of everything she does. She wants to play basketball, then she wants to blow the whistle, then she wants to be the referee. And the point of that scene is where they talk about wanting to do the one night only. So she, rather than, I guess Angie took heed to what the divas are saying about how they thought a showcase was really pointless. So she stepped it up. She went back. She brainstormed. She went and made some notes. And so now she wants to do a one night only. And she brought it to Selena. Selena thinks it's a good idea. And boom, we go forward now to all the girls at Monifa's house, and they have a nice sit down, and Selena comes very prepared, very organized. She has a paper. She has all the different options, and she says, basically, we can do this one night only. We can either tape it, do DVDs, or do like an HBO, Showtime, cinema, whatever, some kind of special. She lost me when she said, and then once we perform, then we could go in the back and sing backup for someone else. That's where she lost me.
I mean, I guess it's more so, just the backup and support like they have done on the previous season, to where, okay, cool, you come out and sing. If you need support, we're there to help you to sing backup, because a lot of the songs are not solo songs. And, a lot of them been in different groups, so they probably have songs where it's just multiple people singing. So I kind of understood
I give you that. Okay, I'll take back what I said.
And I wasn't that mad at it. If it's the whole show, I could see how they could look at it and not be so interested. But if it was an element to the show, like a last number, everybody sings a song where everybody plays background in the lead, then that would be kind of a cool, just because I'm sure they could find some creative way to jazz it up with all their different voices if they were going to go at it like that. But like I said, with them thinking it was just the whole show, I'm going to sing my part, and then all of a sudden I got all these other women I got a backup sing for, they did acknowledge that is a difficult task. Learning your key, your notes that you have to sing in certain parts. That's why, I don't think that all lead singers can be backup singers.
Absolutely.
I think that's more of a harder transition than anything else, because it's easy to be yourself and be creative and do your thing. But when you have to conform to whatever makes the song its best quality, that is a skill within itself. And I'm glad that they could acknowledge that, and it's not that they see their careers as one-sided. Like, I'm sure they've all had to play that position in order to get to where they were, but even still, some people don't.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of amazing quality singers that would be American Idols and all that kind of stuff. That's a way to make money.
Now, Angie Stone wanted to throw in the fact that maybe they can kind of do like an acoustic style with like different instruments.
I mean, I look at it as, just kind of just dealing with music in general and going to a lot of shows. I think more the acoustic styles, like instead of singing over a track, I can have a live band play, or, I can have the congos or different instruments to kind of portray them, who they are and their character and their concept of the music that they're trying to deliver to each person. So I agree with the acoustic style. I think she should have just explained it just a little bit, because Keke was lost. She was like, her thing, acoustic, when you read the acoustic, you think about acoustic guitar. Versus like, okay, let me get a full band, and from that full band, the band learns everybody's song, and then from there we kind of play whichever way we want to. And I think that's a better transition for everybody.
Totally agree with that. It would definitely spark the show, and it would definitely make the show more lively if they were to use real instruments. Then Angie Stone asked Latavia if she would be comfortable being a solo artist. Why are you guys laughing?
Because last time we came together and talked about this, I kept it to myself, because my biggest thing was I don't even know why she on the show. And I don't want to say that about nobody child, but it was a situation where, even if you look at her history, she was never in a position to really be understandably on the show. Which, I mean, then what went in my head, maybe she could really sing and nobody just knows. Because not everybody gets that moment of shine, whether they got the skill or not. But then when it became open and addressed that this is a real issue for her, I was like, oh, okay, I figured that. Why are you here? And then, I mean, it's sad. It's sad in the sense that who knows whose opportunity that she probably took away because of, I don't want to even say that they just put her on the show because she's pretty. She is pretty, though.
I'm assuming just her story itself is worthy enough to be on a reality show, because
but how long is her story?
It's not a diva story, though.
Like, when you kind of look at herself and her music and what she's done in the music industry, it's really minimal. I'm just
no CDs,
nothing,
no mixtape.
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, and I don't want to. Like I said, I don't want to talk bad about nobody's child, but it's one of them situations where. Look at this group. Which one of these things does not fit? I'll even put Michel'le in there because she was a lead singer. She did have her catalog of songs that you could go to and people will know whether it was her in the group or whatever, but still. And then she's not scared to put herself out there. Mm-hmm. But if you're on this show, and it's called R&B Divas, as in established women in the industry who are trying to make their second comeback or second wave, the last thing should be fear of performing.
Yeah. I think that what it really gonna boil down to is that it's really gonna kind of take it to the level of she's probably have a lot of songs. She's probably recorded a lot, and she's probably be the number one person who shined within the show.
Who?
Hopefully.
Who? Are we still talking about Latavia? I'm sorry, I was looking at my notes and I
Hey,
lost.
I'm giving great hope here because again, like I said, nobody knows the talent that she has, and obviously she's afraid of performing by herself. So hopefully, like she's able to overcome this because of all the girls. And again, she's probably on this show because of the fellowship, where they kind of taking in somebody who's never been successful or haven't had that level of success that everyone has, but they bring her and they're gonna nurture her, mature her, and she probably actually hopefully come out with the song. Hopefully, like everybody else on the show.
I think maybe for Latavia, I think it will be her finally losing fear of performing.
Exactly.
And for the one night stand, she'll probably sing her song and she'll probably do great. She says she hasn't really sang in 10 years. She really hasn't come out a lot. One thing
That's another thing.
What?
Like admitting how much she has like she had a moment, and however messed up the exit was or whatever, she had a point in time where she was within some kind of system. And if you want to continue your dream, you gotta like somehow exercise your craft. And if you're not exercising your craft, of course you have every reason to be scared going up there performing for whatever kind of audience, you know what I'm saying, and around whatever kind of peers, more so. I'm like, forget the audience, you need to worry about your peers and how they see you, because if you don't do what it takes to deserve your spot, there's always somebody that has been itching and dying and waiting to take that from you.
I mean, but you also got to look at this whole cast right here. They haven't really done anything over the past 5 years to like almost a decade. But even though they've been successful in their career, but what have they really done the past 5 years or the past 8 years, almost 10 years? Really nothing. So she's really kind of fit in the same realm as everybody who's been on this show already.
She barely in the door though. She like barely in the door.
I
like
know,
the
but
back
still,
door.
she's still they
pushed
still in
against
the same circumstances where none of these ladies have really came out with the album or came out with the single or even like did any type of showcasing or did any type of touring. So they all in the same situation.
I'm not saying she can't play catch up, but at the same time, if you ain't even really like put yourself in a situation, that's like a athlete who doesn't train and then wonders why they pull a muscle or pop something, break something just by putting themselves out there. I'm like, girl, not only are you gonna go out there, you're gonna have the shaky voice, I'm singing in front of people for the first time and I'm nervous.
I think she's gonna be successful in this. I mean, I agree. I disagree, but I feel like she's gonna be successful in this. She's really gonna shine above.
I think so too. And then also on that segment the transition segment that I don't like, she actually did sing.
It wasn't that great.
It was not great. it was not. It was
my face.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't great. But she did sing, and she did for episode 1. She did chime in on when they were singing "Encourager." So I don't know. Good luck. Good luck to her.
Okay.
Yeah. Good luck to her.
Snippet. They
it's
a good snippet.
Yeah, right.
Get her right there. She sounds good.
So then Latavia then goes and has she goes to the studio where Monifa is recording music. Now, one thing that I will say, all these girls have been in the studio. Angie, Monifa, Selena, Michel'le, these girls have all been in the studio. So that's great. So she's working. Monifa's working on a song, and Latavia comes in.
The song sound good. I gotta give up to
the
Monifa. It sounds real good.
Song sounded really great, and so Latavia comes in, and so she wants to have this one-on-one because she can relate to her. Because Monifa, after she lost her record deal, she
substance abuse.
Yeah,
it's a substance abuse.
So she fell short to substance abuse, and so they have this conversation, and Monifa basically just gave her encouragement. What do you guys think about that?
I think that's all she could say. Mm-hmm. It was one of those situations like, what can I do for you? And I'm gonna say something nice, cause I mean everybody could pull from anybody's story, and definitely in Monifa's case, she went through a lot. And she's pulled herself to be stronger and powerful. So I definitely think when you are lucky enough to have put yourself in a situation where you can have really, dope peers or people, mentors to look up to, I think you take advantage of it, and that's one thing that I could say is nice about Latavia is that at least she knows and is humble enough not to let what she's accomplished before be a facade and some kind of blockade for her to be able to be like, yo, I need help, I need encouragement, or I need some kind of guideline on how to get myself back on my feet and in running position with you guys. So it's like, I don't know. It's nice.
I mean, I think she just kind of went to Monifa because the whole, like, the history of Monifa, the substance abuse, and she felt like she'd be able to relate to her a little bit more than, you know, all the rest of the girls because, you know, just because of the history. I mean, I thought it was cool, but ultimately, overall, again, it's really up to herself to really determine how successful she wants to be.
Or she could get singing lessons from.
That won't
hurt.
I was gonna say, or since they're in the studio, could one of them, or Monifa, or producer, or any of them, you know, offer to go into the studio with her, you know, get her behind the booth, put the earphones in, and just let her sing and just let her get it out.
Yeah,
man, I'll take that ride and wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, Monifa has some dope pictures though for the cover. Yeah, see it?
Yeah.
They actually look good, girl. Hey, you look good, girl.
Yo, you going on your way?
Despite her surgery, isn't that right, Mr. Fitness?
Oh, yeah, her surgery. I thought about her surgery today. And a lot of time when you look at people who have liposuction and stuff, your face is still going to be fat.
All I would say is, I don't judge you, baby. If you want to cut yourself up, suck some stuff out to make yourself look whatever, it makes you feel good inside, I'm okay with it, you know what I mean? I personally agree with the guys to work out, but I ain't going to hate on you for doing what you want to do. 2014.
8 weeks of fitness and nutrition and none less pain. 8 weeks of fitness and nutrition.
But if you cut yourself, make sure they do a right angle.
Please do.
You mentioned about you mentioned that whatever makes Monifa feels good, go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Well, I think what makes us feel good at AfterBuzz is when you guys go to iTunes and you subscribe to our channel. Make sure that you download, you rate, subscribe, and we really appreciate all the support that you guys give us here on AfterBuzz TV. So iTunes, download, rate, subscribe, and comment. All right. So I like when Michel'le and Latavia have their little
girl moment.
Their little girl moments, and they have their little. I still feel like there's gonna be a moment where it's gonna be young versus old, young versus old.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and I noticed even on Michel'le's confessionals, she's excuse me, I'm finna curse. She's a shit talker.
Yes!
Yeah.
She talks a lot of shit.
Yeah.
She'll be telling us that shit nobody face.
Hey, but you know, the thing she said when they kind of met together, she was like, yeah, the two beautiful ones. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. Side jab.
So I see some cattiness. It's absolutely going to come out. And so they basically were going in about the two about the one night only, and Latavia is like, of course she thinks it's good, and Michel'le was like, you know, she says that I'll give him an A for effort.
I mean, I just think, you know, her kind of coming in, like, she really has no point to kind of feel like, okay, well, I'm going to disregard the show because, again, she didn't give her idea. She had no idea, and, you know, she coming in as a newbie. If you can have a suggestion, give a suggestion. Don't be like, oh, I give an A for effort, and I'm just going to close my mouth because I'm going to see how either A, see how successful it's going to be, or B, see how it's going to fail.
Yeah, that's a big pet peeve for me is when someone wants to complain and then they don't offer a suggestion.
Yeah.
So that was, for me, Michel'le, that was weak. Very weak with that.
Capital W.
Right. Mother Stone. Mother Angie Stone.
Oh, take care of the world, Keke. Take care of your kids.
That moment, but you know what? That little song her daughter had was actually it was pretty.
I like that too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, you know,
I think the daughter got mad potential. I don't think she sounded just kind of like Angie, but with the
with the 21st century tone.
Yeah, exactly.
Was trying to be established in the scene. I was like, oh, poor mama.
So Angie Stone in her confessional says that she dropped out of school. She got pregnant at an early age, and so her parents had to end up taking care of the child because she dropped out of high school and she chose to go on tour and live the life that she basically has. And it appears that her daughter Diamond is not happy with that because she feels that Angie hasn't been a mother. What I find really interesting is people who who don't have that lifestyle where their parents are famous, either if they're entertainers or they're athletes. You know, people looking on the outside would say like, you know, dang, you got it easy. You know, I wish my mama was Angie Stone, or I wish, you know, my dad was Kobe Bryant. But yet the kids, it always seems to be some neglect, some negligence from those kids who grow up in that kind of environment. So what did you guys think? Did you think that Diamond had a valid point, or do you feel that she wouldn't have the lifestyle that she had her mother not taken a decision to make a career and be worth $10 million?
I mean, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I think in each situation is kind of indigenous to the personalities within that family. I think, and also, you know, what kind of star or artist or, you know, actor, whatever that person does to make that bunch of money and entertain or, you know, compete. I think it's a give or take for each level person. I do, for the most part, side with Angie's daughter, just because you can see her trying to hover and be mother hen to all these women who are well above age and not her daughter, and be doing all this kumbaya and figuring out ways and stuff. I think that's a slap in the face to somebody. That's when it became, I think, an issue. It may not even have been as much of a thing until you like, well, I see seasons of you being like this mother hen that you've never been for me, and then you run off and thinking you're going to be able to tell me what to do in my career too. I think that's just was a little bit too much. I was like, I feel like she understood who her mother was, and that's why I think her daughter is so dope, because she sounds like a very seasoned artist or whatever, and came off like she has some kind of way about herself and knowledge of where she's going. I think that came through being her daughter, but at the same time, I think you naturally get to grow when you're around an artist as somebody in your family. You get to learn the whole picture.
The coldest thing that her daughter said was she says, "I'm in a whole nother era, and you need to catch up."
I mean, it's the truth. I look at things like this right here. It's not per se only in the entertainment industry, just as a business owner or someone who runs a successful company. But of course, it's a lot of time away from home because you're trying to make sure your success is able to take care of your family and basically go extend it past you personally yourself. And with Angie, like, did she make the right choice or did she make the wrong choice? No, she made a choice that she felt was great for herself at the moment, even though she probably did neglect her as a child. But I'm pretty sure they have a great relationship. And the scene that they try to portray as of like, oh, she's not a mother for you the way you want her to be, but I'm pretty sure she doesn't go lacking for anything. Anytime she needs Angie, Angie's there for her. And I'm pretty sure she's so seasoned as an artist right now because she's been around Angie and she watched Angie as a mom, she watched Angie as a business person, she watched Angie as a music artist, you know, and that's why she sounds so seasoned. That's why she sounds like the modern day Angie Stone, you know. So in a sense, I kind of feel her pain, but also, you know, I kind of feel Angie too, because Angie's probably been a real great mother for her and a great provider for her. So I just think a lot of times kids feel neglected because they don't get what they want when they want it, and I think that's a reason why she probably feels that way. Or if her parents tell her, "Oh well, you can't do this," and it's like, you never been here for me before, but the whole entire time she's been there for it. And Angie says, "I've taken care of you. I've taken care of my mom and my dad. I'm still taking care of you." So I just think that that's just a defense mechanism that a lot of kids go to where it's like, "Oh well, you haven't been here for me, but I've been providing for you. I've been supporting you. I'm supporting you now. I'm in the studio with you now." So I just think it's kind of a cop out the way she kind of says that.
I agree with you, Larice, on that. And the one thing that Angie did lose me on is I'm going to assume that Diamond is at least 25.
Oh yeah, she's in her 20s.
And 25. Angie has a problem with her daughter, using foul language.
I mean, any parent.
She's one of those old school super Christians though. That's why that's there. I don't think that's like a. And I mean, I think Angie Stone has this, you know, I'm the queen aspect to her, so she's like, "You're my daughter." You
I get that.
Like that.
Did you guys watch Celebrity Housewife? Wife Swap. Celebrity.
Yeah. I seen
so Angie Stone was on there. We'll talk about that on News and Gossip. But Mother Stone used a couple of curse words.
It slips.
So for me, I don't know. her child is grown, and you can't control her. You can't control her artistry.
I guess it's just like a lot of time parents know that their children use profanity and they do things behind their back. It's just more or less like the respect of me, like in my presence, just don't curse in front of me. I mean, that's just with any parent. That's with any elderly person or any older person. It's like, okay, cool, just don't curse in front of me. I mean, that's how I was raised.
I get it, but it's a song, Angie. Now, what did you guys think about her? Well, on the wife swap, she referenced that guy as her fiance. On last night's episode, she just referenced that's her dude that she's known for 8 years.
But it says boyfriend / manager is what it says on there. I mean, hey, kudos to her. She got her younger dude.
Well, she always keeps a young man.
Boy, you can't say she ain't got that good.
Yeah, D'Angelo Copper. Yeah, she keeps a young one. What did you think about the advice that Ashanti gave Angie?
I'm trying to find out what he said.
He said
something so funny.
He says, "How long are you gonna blame yourself for her mistake?"
Nah, he said a funnier line.
Yeah,
he said you can't go back and not
you
be a
can't-
bad mother again.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I think like what he said is roughly it's true. You know, you can't really hold the past in order to move on with your present and your future. And no matter, and it really kind of goes back to the relationship that they had. Like he said, y'all had to build a better relationship. And you can't build a better relationship based on, oh, mom, you didn't do this, or baby, you didn't, or Diamond, you didn't do this. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah, we can reference to it, but we have to look at our present moment and where we're trying to go in the future. Because if you don't, you can continue to live in the past, and that's just a victim of our society. Because a lot of people, they live in the past, not in the present. Versus like, let's just move forward, because you'll never forget it, but you can forgive somebody for what they done in their past and the wrong that they done to you in order to move on with your future.
Well, it appears that they moved on because they hugged it out, and she gave the illusion that she's going to work with her, kind of train her to be the next up-and-coming diva, which we see in the final scene when all of them are at the rehearsal for the One Night Only. Everything was going nice and smooth, and then Michel'le, we spoke on this earlier, but Michel'le said, I have a confession. I feel a certain way about doing background.
Well, no, I don't feel like there was wrong with that.
I feel that was honest. I do. When 702 broke up, Michel'le tried to become a solo artist. Apparently, it didn't work. So then she was managed by Faith Evans. She was singing backup. She sung backup for Faith, and then she sung backup for Macy Gray for 3 years. And so she said she felt a certain way about that because as a solo artist, she thought it may be a one or two, like a gig or two, and she wound up being stuck in it for 3 years. And so I can see if you're a part of a successful R&B group, and now people go to a Macy Gray concert, and they're like, wait a minute, ain't that the girl from 7? So I could see where she's coming from. But Selena, what did you think about the advice?
I mean, Selena advice?
Selena was basically like, why should you ever give a care about?
I mean, I think it's good advice, but even the point I was gonna make, because she feel like, oh well, she's some backup singer for so many years. You some backup singer because you had to sing backup singer because you needed the money. If you really want to, as a solo artist, if you want to put out another song yourself personally without you singing backup, you can't blame nobody but yourself. You didn't come out and bring your own music. So I think that's just a bad, poor taste in her mouth that she had because she feel like she's not as successful as she wanted to be because she had to sacrifice her life, which is her choice, to pay her bills. And that's just the bottom line. So her singing backup for everybody else on this one show, I'm like, yo, do it. What else do you have? Yo, that's what I said. Oh well, I've been at the height of my career in my basketball league, and now I'm just like,
but it's
I don't want to be the team player no more. I just want to be the star.
But it's like, man, I've been washing all these dishes, man. I've been washing all these dishes for so many years. You want me to wash a cup? Wash a cup? I've been washing all these dishes. Yes, you've been washing all these dishes.
Exactly.
So wash this cup and get over it. But I mean, my biggest thing was, I thought I understood where she was coming from. I didn't necessarily agree with the way she looked at 3 years of hard work. I think that's more of an accomplishment, even regardless if you have been that megastar or whatever and gone to a point where you had some kind of job, but you was holding something down for 3 years. I think the outlook that she personally took was just a bad choice. I don't think everybody has to look at that situation the same way, because I think there's a lot of things you get into as an artist. You gotta, be multifaceted, and hopefully you do make it to all you have to do is that one thing. But most of us have many dimensions to the levels of our craft. So I feel like having to do anything to maintain the overall idea of your career, I don't think there's nothing to look down upon.
I think you look at it like this right here. Your experience personally, you're a dancer. You're a lead dancer and you create your own choreography though. But even though you dance with other people to help improve them and basically to go on tour and all that, do you feel any different of if somebody came to you right now from your resume for being a choreographer and being a dancer and a solo dancer, would you feel comfortable dancing with another group right now? Where you're not the choreographer, you're just in there dancing.
Oh, no. But I think, I said, no, I wouldn't have a problem, but based off of that is an example of like, I've danced in movies, I've danced in music videos and stuff like that. There's certain reality TV shows that I wouldn't see myself auditioning for. I wouldn't do So You Think You Could Dance. I wouldn't do ABDC because for me, I've chosen a certain lane. Doesn't mean I look at anybody else who did that any differently. They're just the same like me. Anytime they book a job, they just add to their career in whatever job. One day you may be a lead in a movie, the next day you may be in a music video, next day you may be on tour, maybe you're doing a live show. These are different levels to the game. It's the game that you're in, though. It's not necessarily, oh, I'm just here to be the star. If you are, then you're going to have those ups and downs. You're going to look at certain moments in your life like Michel'le did where she don't want to go back to that. But if you look at yourself like I'm an artist, I sing in all kinds of levels of it, then you good with getting your cash.
You got that, Michel'le?
Well, this is something that I noticed, the tone in Michel'le. When she says, well, I feel a certain way about it, the tone was very, very low. And then when they asked her, she was like, let me explain. Then she kind of popped up, and then her tone kind of changed, like she was ready to turn, her tone totally changed. And so for me, again, I see a buildup of Michel'le where you're going to see the real who she is. We already see who she is based off the confessionals, but I think she's kind of putting on a facade right now, and she wants to be a solo artist. She wants to be the diva. She wants to do all this. But I think the one thing that she forgot to think about is when you do your one night only, you have to perform songs that people are going to be familiar with. You can't do all your new tunes. So you're gonna have to do Where My Girls At. You're gonna have to do Stilo. You're gonna have to do You'll Just Never Know. You're gonna have to do all of those songs. Well, guess what, Michel'le? Who do you think is going to sing those other two parts? Because you were in a group. So you have to think before you speak a little bit. So I just thought that was poor on Michel'le's part. But I like the fact that the girls comforted her and said, don't take what you did lightly. Backup singing is a craft, and it's not something everybody can do. And now, so let's go to the final thing where Selena was kind of like in her groove. She was in her groove, and they were all talking about business. Then Keke, calmly, no drama, was like, well, now that we are having this meeting and we're actually going forth, what are we going to do about the business side and the money and all this? Because now I have to bring this to my manager. All legit stuff that happens in these kind of meetings. Yeah. And then the door opens, and then it's Diamond.
Which is kind of weird, though, because this is the thing. Before you do something like that, you would have to act as a group. Okay, cool. First of all, if it's about business, I would never bring my child into like a business setting. But we're just out, just hanging out and stuff, and we kind of like preparing for the show, actually preparing for the show after the business taken care of. I wouldn't care if my child will be able to come around to talk to the girls and everything. But this also my thing. Why is this the first time they was like, "Who's this girl?" And they just like nobody knew that was Angie's daughter, or if Angie had a child. And it's like everybody's like, "Who is this girl?"
Yeah.
And she comes sit down. She's like, "Hey."
Right.
What are you doing?
And Selena looked pissed.
Yeah, because it's business.
It's totally business. And so she's like, okay, so are you here? Are you going to join? Or, like, Angie was completely out of order because
Yeah.
She ain't explain nothing.
she didn't explain anything. She didn't warn the girls. Now, if anyone wants to step on Mother Stone's shoes, then she's gonna have a problem with it, and she's gonna try and do the whole kumbaya and do the big stories. And she was out of pocket for it. So I can't wait to see what happens next week. But she was out of pocket. The girl should have never been there.
Yeah.
And so then at the very end, Keke was like, we can never do things right. So she gets up and she leaves, and then boom, that's the end.
I mean, but she has a right to.
She totally has a right.
She has a right to, and I just think Angie was wrong for that whole situation. I know she's trying to help develop her Diamond into be, a wonderful singer, but overall, it's a time and place for everything.
Then did you notice when Keke started to ask the question about how we're going to discuss the business, then Angie breaks into this whole thing like, don't be looking like, who does that? Like, she's too old to I don't know. It's just.
I mean, I mean, when you really kind of look at things, I think Angie has a lot to do. She's going to have a lot to do with a lot of the drama of this season.
Again, from the last time we spoke, I think that she's trying to take a position that she really is not qualified for and doesn't know how to relate to the women. And like I said, with bringing her daughter, I didn't get that. I didn't think that was such a big deal personally because I've been in a lot of situations where business has been handled around people and their families just running around or whatever. But I mean, she was being quiet or whatever. It shouldn't have deterred the women that much. But I understand how bringing random people could mess up a vibe, especially with these volatile women. But at the same time, I just feel like she should have known that based off of every other situation they've been in where they can't even be together on their own and have something decent happen, not to drop no bombs of like, I'm bringing my kid and not telling nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that. But you also got to look at, like, when you kind of did business when I've done business with other people around too, but I'm kind of familiar with the other people that's around. When a complete stranger walks in the room, it's just like, we're not talking business no more. Identify yourself and who you are. If you feel like you don't want to leave, then this meeting just really it's a journey. We're not going to talk about anything else. We can move on to something else because it's business.
And so Keke leaves. The end.
Hey, don't
Abrupt.
Yeah. So let's go into news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So Latavia Robertson, she appeared on Wendy Williams, and Wendy, she got right to it. She asked about Destiny's Child. Was she kicked out? Was she replaced? And Latavia said, would I really just walk out and quit Destiny's Child? She said that basically they were fired, but I think pretty much everyone knows that story. But the more recent news out of that interview, Latavia said she's writing a tell-all book about her experience from the childhood, from Destiny's Child to what happened after Destiny's Child to where she is now. So
maybe the book would work out better than her singing.
I don't know. If anybody want to read their book, it'd be Kelly or something. At least she was in it for a while.
Yeah, I think it's a day late, dollar. I think it's
way late.
Yeah, it's late. I don't particularly
unless she
care.
actually come out with an album and actually like a full album and go on tour. That's the only way this book is going to sell. From a marketing standpoint, that's the only way it's going to sell.
Do any of you guys watch Real Housewives of Atlanta? Have ever seen it?
I've seen it.
Okay, is it me? But does Latavia look as if she can be related to Phaedra Parks?
I don't pay attention to Phaedra like that.
I'm just saying, like.
I mean,
Okay.
she cool, but she ain't that cool. I'm just saying.
Monifa was on Wendy Williams last week, and she discussed her story about how she was put out of how she was kicked out of her record label back when I believe when she was with I think it was MCA Universal. Basically, they mailed a box to her that had all of her like video footage, CDs, everything, and basically told her, "Boom, you're done."
Why?
So that sucks.
Yeah.
And then the celebrity wife swap. Angie Stone was on it, and she had this wife swap with Layla Ali, which is really interesting.
I wipe that, swap that any day. I'm like, upgrade. Woo woo. Don't come back.
Well, a couple interesting thing about Angie Stone is her fiance, boo thing or whatever, Ashanti. She brings him breakfast in bed every morning.
Every morning.
Every morning.
Yeah.
grandma's him to death. That grandma love, man.
And she cooks Southern soul food every day. The collard greens, just all of that. She cooks that every day, 6 days a week, and she allows for all the people in the neighborhood to come and just eat in the house. Layla Ali was like, no. She's like, I'm not having it. She stopped it. And I thought it was just kind of interesting because I remember she was on Celebrity Fit Club, and to make food like that for your children,
For your health issues.
for your to bring that food and that lifestyle on your children, especially when you're having weight problems, I thought that was a bit.
I mean, but at the same time, you gotta look at it. People like what they like. You know, they kind of deal with the consequence whenever they deal with it. And you know, you can't really stop it. No matter how much money you have, no matter how much you educate somebody. Again, it goes back to the point of the reality of here's a problem. What I'm gonna do about the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just she don't want to do anything about her weight. She don't want to do anything about her high blood pressure. She's just like,
It's easier just to die.
It's just like it tastes so good. Good collard greens and fried chicken.
Don't fast mother pork.
Let's go into predictions for next week's episode 4.
Whoa.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I think things about to hit the fan between the whole group. I think Michel'le is really gonna start stir up stuff. She's gonna be that Nikki. She's gonna stir up stuff. She's gonna be the one that's stabbing everybody, and I think she's really gonna be very controversial before episode 5. And I think like from this meeting that happened with Angie's daughter with Diamond coming into it, I think Keke's really gonna take it out and go way left field.
What do you think?
I think they're gonna have another crazy episode of them not getting along. I'm worried about Keke's like the best singer on there right now, so now she's the one who might get traded from the team and go somewhere else. I don't know. And then I want to see this, like that whole Latavia situation. I mean, I hope that they put her with somebody so you can see her develop her voice. I mean, that would be something to learn from. But
I think that if Keke does kind of go left field, I feel it's justified, and I believe that all of the girls are going to side with Keke and say to Angie's son what she did was inappropriate. So I don't really foresee this wild, crazy side of Keke coming out because I think everyone's going to jump on her side and defend her because it's hands down Angie Stone. She was out of pocket for that. I agree with what you said, Alfred, on the Latavia situation. Now, also next week, Michel'le has this show. All the Divas are there. And sound check issues, the mic, it appears that things don't go well. And when she's singing and you do the whole crowd participation of where my girl's at, there's crickets. So it happens. You want to, you know,
you might want to sing back up.
Yeah. So until then, we want to thank you guys for tuning in to another AfterBuzz edition for R&B Divas After Show. Let everyone know where you guys can be found.
Hey, it's Larice, people. You can find me at True Peoples, TruPeoples on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Alfred, other times you can find me at All Eyes on Black on Facebook.
And you can find me on social media at Bamm Ericsen. Again, we want to thank you guys for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV for R&B Divas Season 3, Atlanta. We will see you guys next week.
Go Heat!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.